This will be the first episode of me actually doing any CAD development directly. This first section, I didn't even think to record my work, so I'll go back through and just play through everything that Mark and I had worked on previously. And that's just really laying out the 2x6s for the exterior walls. He wants to ensure that we've got a good barrier that we can work with and plenty of room in the walls for running any plumbing or electrical or whatever it is that we want to run inside these walls. So I started by just developing the boards, just objects that represented the boards, and then just started laying things out in groups. Later on, you'll see me go through and start grouping boards and links together in folders, and I found that was a really good way to just quickly build out a bill of materials. I put in a electrical box and an outlet that I found on CAD, and later on I'll talk about that, but I don't think that was the right thing to do. I think I'll need to design my own stuff. But here we're getting into actual CAD development. This is me working directly in the software. And again, I just replicated my 2x6s and my header and footer boards or baseboards, and then just shrunk them down to 2x4s, and then again I'm replicating them. There, I went through and named them, and that's for the bill of material function. So now, as you see, I just select a group, copy paste, place it where I want, and then I can start positioning individuals. And then I use the splitting tool to cut off the excess. And then I just get rid of the excess. And the process from here is all the same. You can copy paste position, copy paste position. Adjust your names as needed. There's really not anything special to this. Once you understand how to create even just a basic shape, anybody can do this. The only other additional tool that I found really helpful is the alignment tool. So alignment and splitting, and I can go through and modify these boards to any size, shape I want, and I just keep replicating them until the end of eternity. So this section that I'm working on right now represents the main room, which is to the right of the screen, and then a bedroom that will eventually have a egress window in it. And then the first section that I was doing is the master bedroom with a large walk-in closet that will have a walkout patio that's below ground level with external stairs going up into a fenced area. At least that's the plan. So now I'm moving into the bathroom area. This section here to the right is going to be the bathroom. There's a steam shower going in here, and then we've also got an enclosed toilet area that I'll be walling off. This is the walled-in toilet area that I'm working on, and this room is going to require some additional tweaks. I need to go back through and make sure that my exterior walls are actually adhering to the original design lines, the original sketch. But again, I positioned everything, and I grab a 2x4 and slide it over to represent the end of the wall, or actually is the end of the wall. And the idea here is to use the splitting tool. I think the first time I skipped a step, so I had to go back, use the splitting tool, get rid of the sections of those header baseboards I didn't need, delete them. And that closes in the shower area. And then so the section to the bottom of what we're looking at right now is actually going to be the kitchen and stairway from the exterior, and the stairs going up to the main floor. At this point, I'm going through and figuring out the measurements of what I call my offcuts, anything that isn't a standard 2x4 length. And then I'm going through and cleaning up some names, and then I'll start moving these into their individual groups. I have a group for 2x4 by 96. There's 2x6s in different lengths. And the whole point here is to build out my bill of materials visually within my design. I haven't found a plug-in or an external tool that I like yet for getting a bill of material out of Fusion, and I haven't quite figured out the tools that are built into this. I'm a complete novice, and I'm going to keep stating that through this whole process. This is my 6th year, I believe, working with this software, all self-taught. I started off with Lars Christensen's tutorials that he did 10 years ago, which are still very relevant. The software interface has changed a lot, but his tutorials that he started with are still very relevant. But the idea here is, and this is probably one of the easier CAD softwares I've tried, again, as a novice. Sure, there are things that this can't do that full-blown AutoCAD can do, but this was a good place for me to start. I think it's a good place for a lot of people to start. And if you can figure out how to make a basic shape, you can learn this software on the fly, especially if you're good at picking things up. So now I'm starting to position the electrical boxes. And this is kind of a place where I did something, thought I was doing something right, and now looking back on it, it created some issues within my design that I'm going to have to go back in and correct. And what that is I brought in designs that other people have made, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with those designs. CAD is a great resource. I occasionally get things off of Thingiverse, but those are the two locations that I go to for stuff that I haven't designed. With that said, the electrical box here is good, and I may use that as my starting point, but the outlet that I brought in has entirely too much detail in it for what I'm needing to do. And early on I tried to go through and combine the objects, and that didn't work, and I just gave up, and I started pulling the bodies out into a separate group, and my concept was to replicate that group. And what I did, and as my time working with this went on, I created entirely too much geometry within the design, and it really started to reduce the performance of the software. And Fusion's kind of an interesting software. It runs local, but it also ties into a cloud connection. So on top of just kind of overtaxing my local resources, whatever components it goes out to the cloud for were also hindered this evening, because I don't know if we were having internet issues or if the service itself was having issues. I had to close out and reopen the software about 3 different times, and each of those times it never wanted to fully upload my project to Fusion's service. So I think there were some issues on their end, I think there were some internet issues on my end, but then I also created excess data within the design by trying to use that outlet everywhere. And it looks great. It's a great component. I think what I'm going to do is I'll have to go back in the timeline, and maybe I'll do a short about that, but I'll pull the reference to the outlet out completely, and I'll go back to the box. I'll modify that just to kind of have that outlet look to it, just so we have a little bit of detail in this. But the idea is I will turn the box into one component, which will be a lot simpler geometry within the software, and that should improve my software performance overall. That's going to kind of wrap it up for this first episode in this series. This next video I will go in, I'm going to clean up my walls. I'll do the outlets off camera, and then I'm going to start laying out the stairs in the kitchen, both coming from the external door and going up to the main floor. And I'm also going to draw the brick and mortar walls that are pre-existing. So thank you for watching. Please shoot me any comments, any recommendations, any thoughts on this process, or any questions. I'm always looking to learn, and I learn by people teaching me, but I also learn by teaching others. So again, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.